Do you feel like you are wasting your potential? Honestly. You know, deep down there are these massive things you wish to accomplish in your life, and yet something's off. In the beginning of 2022, I knew that this was going to be my year. I just moved into a new apartment, I was ready to grow my YouTube channel and finally make it a full-time career, but in the blink of an eye, it was the end of 2022. And I had to face the fact that I hadn't accomplished a single goal I set for the year. I wasn't making as much money as I wanted, my YouTube channel hasn't grown as much as I wanted, and I was still struggling with a lot of the same issues I was struggling with in 2021. And this immense wave of frustration, shame, and confusion washed over me. I was working, I was learning new things, I was trying all these different things, and yet I fell so short that the thought of me being in the same position another year ahead felt worse than death. So going into 2023 with the desperation to fix this problem, I accomplished multiple life-changing goals. I created my own business and became fully self-sufficient, and I experienced the most growth in my personal life and on my YouTube channel than ever before. And that was all because of 3 simple changes I made that turned my aimless ambition into concrete, life-changing results. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking those down fully because I do not want you to feel the feeling I felt at the end of 2022. But if you don't have it within you to commit to this video and watch the rest of it, then you can go ahead and click off right now because you're going to have to learn it the hard way, like I did. Firstly, I realized the law of one. In 2022, I was trying so many things. I felt so productive, like I was making so much progress. And on paper, I was doing all these things. It's not like I was sitting around scrolling on TikTok for 20 hours a day. But the difference was with 2023 is that I cut everything out except pretty much one thing. Because what we tend to do is, whether it's in business, self-improvement, just life in general, is we're trying to build like 5 different towers at once. So maybe we'll go over to tower number 1, we'll place a block, and then we'll run over to tower number 3, and we'll place a block, and then we'll go back to 2, place a block there, maybe go back to 1 and place a block. Oh, but then we gotta go over to 4 and place a block, and oh, can't forget about 5, let's place a block there. And you spend all this time doing things that feel productive, when in reality, you've made 1 to 2 blocks worth of progress. What you have to do is decide what the core thing is, the core tower that if you build it, all other towers, honestly, don't even fucking matter. And the funny thing about this is more often than not, it's the thing we want to do the least because it's really easy to get quick wins with the other towers. For example, around mid-2022, I was getting a little insecure about the amount of money I was making, and I was working on my YouTube, but I wasn't really making much money from it, but I had a friend who was extremely successful from e-commerce, from drop shipping, and thus for a multi-week, maybe even a 2-month stint, I was making multiple Shopify stores, I was running TikTok ads trying to sell products, and I was just building all these different towers, and it felt like quick wins because, oh, I made a store, I ran some ads, and one of the stores even got a couple sales. But because my focus was so scattered, it wasn't really progressing, it wasn't even profitable, and I realized that, oh, because I was chasing these quick wins and these other things and these other towers, I was neglecting the one tower that I knew if I built, first of all, the other towers wouldn't fucking matter, but second of all, I would get where I want to be in life eventually. But the thing is, even that realization wasn't enough. I needed to find the one thing within the one thing within the one thing, and it probably goes further out than that. Because the one thing could be, oh, I want to grow my YouTube channel. Okay, but there's something deeper than that. What's the main thing that I need to do so? Well, what was lacking at the time was quality of my talking head videos. But there's all kinds of different things you can do to improve quality, so I had to get even deeper on the one thing. What was the one thing I needed to do? It was the writing. So for a period of around 60 days, I set out one plan to improve my writing. I stuck to one source of information from a mentor / creator, and all I prioritized was that one thing, improving the writing. I didn't worry about editing, I didn't worry about different topics, I didn't worry about different ways to make money. Therefore, I had one voice in my head that I listened to and actually obeyed, and I ignored every other voice in my head trying to pull me in different directions, like that multi-arrowed circle. And guess what happened? I started posting back to back to back bangers. My best performing videos to date that exponentially grew my channel and resulted in over 100k subscribers gained that year. The issue comes when we realize that typically that one thing is the thing we want to do the least, and also the thing that we don't actually know how to do, and or the one problem we don't actually know how to solve. So we act like an ant on a paper. I don't know if you've ever had an ant on a piece of paper, but it'll walk around until eventually you draw a line, and then that ant changes its direction because it sees the line and somehow sees it as this hurdle that it can't cross over, so it's changed its direction. And then you draw another line, it changes direction, then you draw another line, and you can pretty much do this infinitely and trap the ant on a piece of paper. And yet as humans, we'll look at the ant and be like, wow, he's so stupid. Doesn't he know he can keep continuing forward despite this perceived barrier? But honestly, we tend to be even stupider than the ant because we don't actually know how to focus on one thing. We don't understand that that one thing, to get where we want to be or solve the problem, it's going to take 10 times the amount of effort we originally perceived. And beyond that, 99% of said effort is probably going to be wasted. 99% of the effort towards your business, 99% of the cold approaches you did to get good at talking to girls, 99% of the things you wrote or studied for school to get a certain career is wasted in a sense of it was inconsequential. It didn't actually result in the result you desired. But yet they are required because those 99 wastes are what prepare you for the one true thing and the true opportunity that gets you to the success you desire in whatever field. Therefore, not only do you have to commit to the one thing, not only do you have to cut out all distraction, because all focus really is, even though you do build the ability to focus, flow state, things like that, what focus is boiled down is not doing distraction. But beyond that, you're going to fail 99 things, and it prepares you for the one thing. It's like the game of Go, which is this tabletop strategy board game, and I heard someone say once, the best way to get good at Go and to win Go is to lose 100 games as fast as possible. Because you know what happens? You gain experience and you gain data sets to where you approach problems and opportunities in the future with these said data sets, and suddenly it's not 99 to 1, it's 20 to 1. You just 5 times your likelihood of achievement, or 5 times your efficacy of your effort, because now you can approach these things with better judgment. And another way to do this would just be increasing your clarity of mind. One, if you just cut out all of the things except your one thing and control your inputs, don't learn about anything else. Don't listen to any other podcasts. I don't care how motivational it gets. But 2, increase your clarity through something like meditation. Throughout this period in 2023 where I made the most progress, I was meditating every single day because I then went into my work with a heightened sense of mental clarity. If you want to meditate the same way I do, and let me walk you through it, I have a free 5-day series in the description. And on the flip side of this, because you will make a plan and stick to it, and if you want to know how to make a plan, take your 2 to 5 year goal, something you'd like to accomplish, and then set a 1-year goal that puts you on pace for that, and then set a 6-month goal that puts you on pace for that, and then set a 3-month, and then a 1 month, and then a 1 week, and then a 1 day, and you can look zoomed out on this entire timeline and kind of whittle your way back to think, okay, what is the one thing I could do today that puts me on track for the one thing I need to accomplish this week, the one thing I need to accomplish this month, 3 months, 6 months, year, 2 to 5 year goal. And once you have that, and you don't need to know exactly what to do or exactly how to solve the problem, you just need to know the one thing you're moving towards, you need to enter a season of no, which means you have to accept and be okay with sacrificing almost all other areas of your life. Because the problem with us, because we're ambitious, we understand and we are aware of seemingly unlimited opportunities, and yet the unfortunate reality is we have limited resources. And that's all fine and dandy when there's seemingly opportunities that are obviously something we shouldn't do. For example, if you want to start a business or you're working on a business and your friend comes up to you and says, look, I have this great idea for a business. It's going to be a topless bookstore called Bikini Books. It's easy to tell that friend, no, that's stupid, fuck off. It's not as easy to where you spot opportunities, where you know there's success in those opportunities, and to say, no, because it is not this thing, and I've committed this thing for this period of time. This is why Steve Jobs, instead of asking his employees, what have you accomplished recently, he would ask his employees, what have you said no to recently? You have limited mental energy, you have limited time in the day, and you have limited time in your life because we're all gonna die. Therefore, each and every day, what you are essentially doing is mental blitzkrieg, which is a tactic that the Nazis leverage with their tanks to essentially focus all of their firepower, all of their tanks on a singular weak point on the enemy lines until they eventually busted through. And then once they busted all over the place, they could go and clean up the rest. Oh my gosh. This is especially hard in the self-improvement space because you have all these people telling you, oh, you need to make a bunch of money and get jacked and go talk to a bunch of girls and read a million books. And sure, on a long enough time horizon, your entire life, you could accomplish all those things, but you need to take it one thing at a time, which also means cutting off the crabs in your life. You've probably heard about the crabs in the bucket. One crab tries to crawl to the bucket and all the other crabs try to pull them down. It's unfortunate, but people in your life are going to try to pull you away from the one thing in another direction, and you have to literally, not literally, figuratively, cut them off. And then the third final thing, which is most important, is you have to take continuous action towards this one thing. You cannot give up, you cannot pivot, you have to stay in line. You have to continue the tank formation so that you can break through. It is not the perfectionists that succeed. It is the ones who take continuous action and fail. Like I said, remember Go? You lose 100 games before you win one, but fall forward. Failure doesn't actually fucking exist if you don't stop. This happened to me especially when I was building my business and creating modules for what is now Mental Mastery, which is my full self-improvement protocol to reprogram your subconscious mind. And I had to drastically limit the biggest thing in my life up until that point, which was fitness in the gym. I would eat tons of food to bulk up. I would be in the gym with my friends for 3 hours a day. And I went from training every single day to 3 to 4 times a week at my quiet, boring apartment gym because I know I could be in and out within 45 minutes and get back to work on the modules. And I did that despite many days it would have been way more enjoyable and I actually wanted to go work out with my friends, take a bunch of pre-workout, hang out, have lunch afterwards. But it wasn't the modules. And even if that day I didn't want to work on the modules, I worked on the fucking modules. And you know what happened? Because I did that, I was able to finish, launch it within a couple months, and now I'm fully self-sustained on that business and I've helped tons of people. So ask yourself, what is the one thing I could do and or problem I could solve that, if done, all other possible things I can do shrivel to irrelevancy? And that thing is probably going to be the thing you don't want to do, the thing you don't understand, the thing you don't have all the answers for, and the thing that probably is going to require 10 times the amount of effort you think it is. And set the intention to continue course no matter what. Do not be the ant that changes course, that pivots the moment it encounters an obstacle, a hurdle, discomfort. Because this is the single skill that will turn your ambition to actual progression in your life. Otherwise, it is aimless ambition, and you will be like me at the end of 22, frustrated, ashamed of myself, desperately wishing things were different because I got distracted. If you're ready for this, the video on the screen is going to add further context to help you. Thank you for watching. If it sounded like I was dramatic in this video, it's because it's immensely important to me and I don't want you to be in the position I was. Thank you for watching. I love you. Bye-bye.